The crystalline halls of the Valkyrie imperial palace hummed with ancient power, but Queen Azura's mind was elsewhere. Her daughter Emma had always been a disappointment frail by Valkyrie standards, lacking the telepathic prowess that defined their species, unable to manipulate matter with mere thought like her siblings. The Queen's advisors whispered that Emma was cursed, a genetic anomaly in a bloodline that had ruled for 10,000 years. "She will marry the human," Queen Azura declared, her voice echoing through the throne room. "Perhaps he can give us something useful, access to Earth's resources, their strange resilience." Emma stood before her mother, violet eyes downcast. She had learned long ago not to argue. The Valkyrie valued strength, psychic dominance, conquest. Her weakness was an embarrassment the Queen could no longer tolerate. Jack Chun arrived 3 weeks later, a xenobiologist from Earth's United Colonies. He was unremarkable by Valkyrie standards, no telepathy, no energy manipulation, just a human with dark eyes and a nervous smile. The arranged marriage was a political transaction? Nothing more. "You must understand," Jack said during their first private meeting, studying Emma with scientific curiosity rather than romantic interest. "I agreed to this because Earth needs allies. Your mother promised technology transfers." "I understand," Emma replied softly. "Neither of us chose this." What Queen Azura didn't know was that humans possessed something the Valkyrie had lost millennia ago: adaptability. 5 years passed. The Queen received reports from the outer colony's minor disturbances, nothing concerning. Emma and Jack had been sent to govern a frontier world, far from the capital. Good riddance to her defective daughter, but then the reports changed. The Karvek swarm, an ancient enemy thought extinct, had returned. Their bioships consumed everything: matter, energy, entire civilizations. They had destroyed 3 Valkyrie core worlds in a matter of weeks. The Empire's most powerful psychics had tried to stop them and failed, their minds shattered by the swarm's collective consciousness. Queen Azura's advisors panicked. The military was in disarray. Their greatest weapons, psychic bombardments, matter disruptors, were useless against an enemy that evolved faster than they could adapt their tactics. Then a transmission arrived from the frontier. Emma's voice, stronger than the Queen had ever heard it. "Mother, we can stop them. But you must trust me." The Queen's pride warred with desperation. Trust her weakest child? But what choice did she have? When the Queen's flagship arrived at the frontier world, she was unprepared for what she found. The colony had been transformed. Human engineers worked alongside Valkyrie technicians, building weapons unlike anything the Empire had seen. Jack stood at the command center, surrounded by holographic displays showing complex mathematical models. "Your Majesty," Jack said with a slight bow, "welcome to New Harmony." Emma emerged from the shadows, and the Queen barely recognized her daughter. She stood taller, more confident. Her eyes blazed with purpose. "Humans don't have psychic powers," Emma explained, gesturing to the displays around them. "But they have something else. They think differently. Where we see the universe as energy to be manipulated through will, they see it as a puzzle to be solved through understanding." Jack took over. "The Karveks evolve rapidly against direct threats. Your psychic attacks? They adapted in hours. But humans learned warfare the hard way through trial, error, and creative problem solving. We don't try to overpower our enemies. We outsmart them." He pulled up a schematic. "We've developed distributed AI networks that mimic human neural patterns: unpredictable, creative, chaotic. The swarm can't adapt to something that doesn't follow patterns. And we've weaponized something you Valkyrie never considered: culture." Emma smiled for the first time in her mother's presence. "Jack taught me something crucial. My weakness, my inability to dominate through psychic power, is actually a strength. I had to learn to connect, to understand, to collaborate. That's what humans do. They build bridges instead of walls." The Queen's pride stung. But she listened. The Battle of Velkara Prime would be remembered for millennia. The Karvek swarm descended on the capital world with 1 billion bioships, blotting out the stars. The Empire's fleets engaged them, But it was Emma's human-Valkyrie hybrid force that turned the tide, instead of massive psychic strikes. They deployed thousands of small, autonomous drones running creative AI algorithms. Each drone behaved unpredictably, some attacking, some retreating, some self-destructing in seemingly random patterns. The swarm couldn't adapt because there was no pattern to learn. Meanwhile, Jack had weaponized human culture itself, broadcasting Earth's music, art, stories, and mathematical theorems on frequencies that disrupted the swarm's collective consciousness. The sheer diversity of human thought, its contradictions, its creativity, its chaos created cognitive dissonance in the hive mind. Emma stood on the bridge of her flagship, coordinating both Valkyrie and human forces with an ease that stunned her mother. She didn't command through dominance, but through understanding, knowing when to push, when to yield, when to innovate. The swarm began to fracture. Individual bioships broke formation, confused by the unpredictable tactics. The human-designed weapons found vulnerabilities the Valkyrie had never considered within 72 hours. The swarm was in full retreat. Queen Azura stood before her daughter in the rebuilt throne room. The Empire had survived, but everything had changed. "I was wrong," the Queen said, words she had never spoken in 10,000 years of rule. "I thought your weakness would doom our bloodline. Instead, your marriage saved our civilization." Emma looked at Jack, who stood beside her, and then back at her mother. "You taught me that strength is everything, but Jack taught me that there are different kinds of strength. Adaptability, creativity, empathy, these are human strengths, and now they're mine too. The Empire must evolve," Jack added respectfully. "Or you'll face another threat you can't overpower with psychic might alone." The Queen nodded slowly. She had tried to dispose of her weakest daughter, to gain a minor diplomatic advantage with Earth. Instead, she had created something unprecedented, a bridge between two species that would reshape the galaxy. Emma was no longer the embarrassment of the Valkyrie royal family. She was its future. And the Queen would spend the rest of her reign regretting that she had ever called her daughter weak.